Today, on Be Something Wonderful, your assumptions bend and manifest reality instantly. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful here in Las Vegas. Big video for you today. I'm going a little later because I had an early morning session that was so powerful that I wanted to do this video on it. And she wanted me to talk about it as well. So we were talking about yesterday's video, manifesting despite your worst fears. And she had a lot of questions on assumptions and beliefs and reality and all of that. And we really unpacked it in a way that we have never unpacked it before. And at one point during our session, she just burst into tears of joy, right? She goes, it's for the first time I feel free, is what she was saying, that I really understand this. So we're going to go over this. We're going to unpack it. And I'm going to even talk about the point where she burst into tears. Remember, you're not experiencing reality. Rather, your experiencing is reality. This is what that client yesterday, the one that I talked about in yesterday's video, where her visa was hung up, her visa was rejected 3 times. And she said, well, that's not my choice. She made a decision to say that reality is not my choice. It's not my preference. I'm going to choose again. And she imagined herself going up, imagined herself rising in the vertical. Right? Whatever that meant to her, right? We all have different experiences. But remember, it's not the process that creates it. It was her conviction. The moment she made that decision, that was her reality. Whether she rose in the vertical, closed her eyes and imagined herself rising in the vertical is really irrelevant. She created it for sure. So you're not experiencing reality, rather your experiencing is reality. In other words, she changed her experience of reality, which changes reality, because your experiencing is the only reality. In other words, she changed her assumptions. She changed her choice. She assumed differently. That's not my reality. This is the one where my visa is approved, where I do have the opportunity to go visit my family this weekend, which she did, right? She was told the visa would take around 30 days. It was done in 3 days, in time for her to visit her family. So there's no reality apart from your experience of it. Your experiencing is reality. What you assume and believe about reality is your experience, and that experience is reality. Because there's only ultimate reality, and you are that. So how do you know what your experience? How do you know what reality is? It's your experience. It's the only measure, right? And you are the one and only source and creator of your experience. You are reality, right? Like in that video yesterday, this is not my choice. I choose again. In other words, this is not my chosen experience. I'm choosing again. Wow, that's why it changed so instantly. That's why it was an instant manifestation. That was a masterclass on how to deny appearances and affirm your preferred reality. That was the true way to use denial. Right? Not invalidating the preference, not saying it doesn't exist or it's not a possibility or a potential, just saying that's not my choice. I get it, that's a potential reality, that exists, but I'm choosing differently. Masterclass on denying appearances and affirming her preferred reality. Even while she was feeling, remember this from yesterday, even while she was feeling powerless and devastated, she chose again. She said she felt powerless and devastated. She, in other words, assumed again, right? Thoughts and feelings are not reality. They reveal your assumptions or what you assume is real about reality. What you believe, they really reveal what you believe or assume about reality. They're not reality. Thoughts, feelings, appearances, and conditions are not reality. You determine what your experience of all of that is, and that then is your only reality. I am reality. I am who and what I assume and imagine and affirm myself to be. Your experience of reality is reality. Choose again. Assume and accept fulfillment as your only reality. That's what she did. Fulfillment's my only reality. That's what she was saying. This visa's mine. I'm going to see my family. That's my reality now. It was a master class in the law of assumption. That's what that class was just. Remember, none of that's reality. The thoughts, the feelings, your appearances, conditions. You get to determine your assumptions of what those mean to you. What you believe reality is your experience of reality, and that becomes your only reality. But remember, you're the operant power behind it all. Your conviction, what you assume. So remember, there are no truths, facts, or realities out there. That's the difference. Only you and your experience as reality. There's nothing out there to confirm or to confirm as a fact or truth or reality. That's why she could deny it, because there's no truth out there. That's why, and affirm what she wants. Only your choice or assumption of what is or what's real is reality. Only your choice or assumption of what's real. And I noticed one of you, or maybe a few of you, have asked, well, what did she do? What did she imagine? What was her process? What was her meditation? That's absolutely irrelevant. Do you see it? That's you seeking now, trying to make something happen. You'll never get there. Even if she told you exactly what she imagined, exactly what her meditation was, what she imagined scene. You could try to duplicate it. You're not going to get there. You don't have the conviction. It comes from that conviction. It doesn't come from that process. It's absolutely irrelevant. Those questions are coming from lack and desperation to make something happen. I got to change my reality. What did she do? Trying to change something out there by doing something in here, right? You're trying to change something out there by trying to do something within. Still acknowledging that there is an out there to change. What did she do to change out there? What did she do within to change out there? There is no out there. There's only within, and it's you. Do you see it? It wasn't the process that created or shifted her reality. It was her decision. It was her choice. It was her assumption to be someone or something different, to create her experience of reality, to experience reality differently, because your experience is reality. That's powerful, what we just covered there. I hope you realize the magnitude of what we're talking about today. This client did this morning, and this is why she busted out in tears of joy, right? So we're going to hit this. From the video yesterday, she got it that the devastation and powerlessness and fear that she was feeling was not reality. It was not real, but simply resistance to a reality that was not her choice. Do you see, it wasn't reality. All that devastation, that powerlessness, that fear was just resistance to a reality that was not her choice anyway. It was only a possible outcome that was appearing. That's what she moved to. Okay, I get it. That's one possibility. And then she chose again. Then she moved back and up into the vertical to her choice, to her assumption, to her desired outcome. Reality yielded and bent immediately to her conviction, to her choice, and to her new experience of reality. They made an error. It was an immediate feedback. And it wasn't 30 days, it was within 3 days that they actually issued the visa after recognizing they made an error. Right? It yielded immediately. She bent reality to her conviction, to her assumption, to her new choice, her new experience of reality. She chose to experience it differently, she chose to experience it differently, which changed her experience or reality. Wow. Do you get that? That's powerful. She said, remember, she wrote yesterday, a miracle, Tom. I shifted then and here instantly. Yes, your assumption of fulfillment and your desired end moves your awareness on that possibility, your preferred possibility. You collapse time and space because your awareness is reality. Your awareness or your experience is reality. It's the only reality. When you change your experience, you change reality. And you collapse it immediately. Right into that, she collapsed into the vertical, changed reality immediately, and then it unfolded. Right? Unfolded again with the visa being approved in 3 days. Right? It was approved, but then issued within 3 days. Very powerful. Remember, the only true belief and assumption is wholly unlimited is this. I am limitless. That's the only belief and assumption that's wholly unlimited, that's wholly true or truth. Every other belief and assumption is a bending of that truth, of who you really are. That's what we mean by when we say bend reality. Right? Because ultimate reality is changeless. It doesn't bend, but you bend reality through your assumptions and beliefs. So hear it again, what we're saying today. The only true belief and assumption is that is wholly unlimited is I am limitless. Every other belief and assumption is a bending of that truth. That's why we call them limiting beliefs of who you really are. And then you believe so much in those limiting assumptions and beliefs about yourself and reality that you take them as unquestionable truths or facts. You don't even question them anymore. You just push them back there into your consciousness and accept them as reality. That's powerful. That's what we mean by unconscious beliefs or subconscious limiting beliefs. They're still accessible. You just believe they're true or truth. Nothing is except I am limitless. You are here. Hear this. You are here to consciously and deliberately limit yourself. In other words, create an experience of being limitless. That's what we mean by that. Those limiting beliefs are unlimited, based on the unlimited you, right? All beliefs are a form of limitation, but to limit yourself to create an experience of being limitless, not to create experience of being small or limited. That's the difference. Wow. Right? When you start seeing it as creating those beliefs and assumptions as creating an experience of being small or limited, that becomes your experience, but it's really to show that you're limitless. But you forget and confuse the limits, the thoughts, the feelings, the assumptions and beliefs with who you are, with what's real or what's reality. You're the only reality. You assume and believe they are limiting experiences or negative experiences versus unlimited experiences of the infinite you. You judge them as negative or unwanted, but they're all unlimited experiences of that infinite, unlimited you. Wow. This is powerful today. Let's continue this. And this next idea, this is when the client this morning, and why we're doing the video late, burst into tears. We're pulling it together. This next idea can change your life. Can change it right now if you really get this idea. So remember, you are not here as a limitless being to create an experience of being small, limited, powerless, and devastated, to try to remember that you are unlimited or limitless. You're not here to deliberately create experiences to make you small or unlimited. You are here as an infinite being to consciously and deliberately limit yourself to create the experience of being absolutely and wholly unlimited. Let's pause there. This is big, what came out in today's meeting. It's not to create an experience of being weak, small, broken, or fearful. You're none of those things. You're not here as a limitless being, as that infinite being, to create an experience of being small, limited, powerless, the devastated me, so you can try to remember that you're unlimited. You are here as an infinite being to consciously and deliberately limit yourself to create the experience of being absolutely and wholly unlimited. Wow. Your assumptions and beliefs aren't meant to be confused with reality or the truth of who you really are, but rather as a means, as a tool to create an unlimited experience of that limitless you, of time, space, and change in that changeless reality. Wow. That's why she burst out in tears. If you're really getting this, you'll be crying too. Right now. But tears of joy. Wow, that's powerful. Remember, I've done this drawing before. This is the divine mind. This is who you really are. This is the great I am. This is God. This is the ultimate reality. This is the infinite you. It's the one divine mind. It's I am that I am, as God said to Moses. And this superconsciousness and this subconscious is turned inward towards yourself. Your conscious mind or the conscious mind is turned outward towards the physical 3D world. But notice, even though it's turned outward, it doesn't mean there's an out there. It means it's turning outward to create the hologram, the reflection of that experience, of whatever you decide to call forth from all that you are. There's absolutely no separation between the superconscious, the subconscious, and conscious mind. Right? It's only when we're looking out there, believing we're out there, and we're limited, and we're small. That's what happens. Right? Remember, your conscious mind is always intending to give you a clear, unfiltered view of reality. Clear and unfiltered because it's not separate from reality. It is reality. It's not separate from God, all that is, the subconscious or superconsciousness. It's there to give you a certain perspective, a certain viewpoint, a certain vantage point of that wholly unlimited infinite you. Your assumptions and beliefs are the way the infinite you experiences that wholly limitless reality that you are. So those assumptions and beliefs, all of those possibilities exist within consciousness. They're not hiding out to sabotage your world or to wreck your experience of reality. You get to determine what to consciously call forth. You're not separate from any of it. This is big today. Right? They're just turned outward to project that experience of all that you are. But you believe you're out there and small and limited. That's the difference. The conscious mind's not doing that. You are. Right? The fear, the limitation, and all of that. Your conscious mind is a direct conduit. It's connected to all of it. Right? Your conscious mind's always giving you a clear view of all that is. That's its intentions. But when you have these other assumptions and beliefs and you start believing they are reality versus just a way to see reality, a perspective, a viewpoint of reality, of all that you are, that's when you start feeling small, limited, fearful, devastated, right? Powerless, right? That's when you start feeling that. That's powerful today. So limiting beliefs and assumptions are merely perspectives and vantage points of that one wholly unlimited belief, I am limitless. I am infinite. It's that belief, I am limitless, I am infinite. All other beliefs and assumptions are just perspectives or vantage points. We call them we make up these names of limiting and negative. But they're not. They're just simply not. It's simply not your perspective anymore. That's what a limiting belief is. It's a belief that you no longer choose. It's a reality you no longer choose to experience. Just like that client yesterday, right? I am limitless. I'm infinite. Remember, limiting beliefs are really just no longer representative of who you are right now. That's why we call them limiting, but they're not meant to be limiting. It's just a vantage point or a viewpoint you no longer choose. Wow. They're not hiding out. They're not hard to reach. They're not sabotaging your life. They're merely choices within the infinite divine mind with which you are one. And you can always choose again. They're just choices. Wow, they're not hiding out anywhere. Right? You believe that when you start looking outward and believe you're out there. Then they feel like they're sabotaging you. You believe they're the truth of reality. You don't even question them anymore. Right? I am reality. That's the truth. It's not the thoughts. It's not the feelings. It's not the changing assumptions and beliefs. It's not the appearances. It's not the conditions. It's not others. It's not the world. I am reality is the one and only truth. My experience of reality is the only reality. I get to determine all that. That's how your assumptions bend and manifest reality instantly. Wow, that was big today. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on our videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the ambassadors at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, for being part of our membership channel. On the membership channel, we have our 4th live stream scheduled for April 28th, 2024. Later this month on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Coast Standard Time, I'm going to come to you live right here from the studios of Be Something Wonderful to answer the questions and comments and topics that you're sending to us at info at besomethingwonderful.com. Keep sending them. An announcement will go out today on this. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude, this is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Until next time, we'll see you soon.